The Maisa, the Olam are going to be going back. I think it's appropriate to start a little bit of a mini-series on Hilchos Kibbud Av V'em. Many of you are going to be spending time at home, and it's good to refresh some of the halachas, some of the very important halachas of Kibbud Av V'em. I'm not going to be going through it as much as I did it. I did it actually during COVID. We had a bunch of Zoom showing with the guys, because we couldn't have this month, so we did Zoom over, during this month, and we gave Kibbud Av V'em Be'in. So if you want to look up those shurim, you can look them up when you're back. If you want to listen to something, they're on Spotify, they're on Turning Time, they're on my app, you can look them up. But now we're going to give this a very, very bekitzer version of a little bit of the halachas, a refresher course into Kibbud Av V'em, because as you guys are going to be at home, you're going to be confronted with one of the most important mitzvahs that we have, one of the only mitzvahs that we know a reward for in this world, which is quite unusual. We've got a few things to discuss. We're going to get to some of the halachas, but before we get to halachas, I want to get to a little bit of the inyanim. So Rabbi, listen carefully. This is Nageya. And by the way, for those of you that might not be going home, this is also Nageya. Because at the end of the day, you can be mechabed your parents and you can mechayim this halacha, even if you're not at home. And by the way, this applies at any time that you're here now as well. Right? Kibbud Av V'em is a very, very important mitzvah. Now, we know the Maral brings down that Kibbud Av V'em is what we call a mitzvah sechlius. Mitzvah sechlius means it's a mitzvah that every normal human being can understand as being true. It's a mitzvah that is so obvious because it's simply giving respect to those that raised you, those that that did everything for you in your first few years and many, many, many years as well. And you're giving them respect, you're giving them cover, you're giving them fair. And that is something, says the Maral, is considered to be a mitzvah sechlius. It's basically something, it's what we call a mitzvah that's done out of basic human intellect. Now, I wouldn't even almost need the Torah to tell me to do it, because I would do it anyway. Because that's what a normal human being would do, right? There's nothing more basic. We've been discussing a little bit of gratefulness in the Koros HaTov, right? There's nothing more basic than being grateful to your parents. That's a very, very simple idea, a very important idea. The Gemara in Kiddushin, which we will talk about, right? The Gemara in Kiddushin talks about a story of Kibbud Av V'em, and and that's the question that everybody asks, we learn that from a goy. We learn Kibbud Av V'em from a goy, and that's exactly it. We learn it from a goy because it's something that's so basic, it's so normal, it's so understood, so expected that every person really should be doing it, okay? And that's the story, obviously, of Doma ben Nesina, who didn't want to wake up his father, even though he would have made a lot of money. So we're dealing with something very, very important. I want to tell you a lashon of the Rambam, okay? The Rambam says, and I quote to the lashon of the Rambam, Hilchos Mamor Perek Vav Halach Aleph, Vihi mitzvah asay gedola. It is a tremendous, tremendous mitzvah. There's a question, by the way, in the Sfarim. Why does a person not make a bracha on this mitzvah? L'maisa, it's a mitzvah like any other mitzvah. And just like we make a bracha, rafal, on other mitzvahs, why should we not make a bracha on a mitzvah? Kibbud Av V'em, for example, you're going home, so you're about to knock on your parents' door, on your home door. Right before you knock on the door, you're going to be kind of mitzvah Kibbud Av V'em. So you should say, hold on a minute. Baruch ato, make the bracha. Obviously, versteht it with the Gashli, went to mikveh first, all the kavanas, and then you knock on the door. That's it. Hareini mekayim the mitzvah of Kibbud Av V'em. Why do we make a bracha? The answer is because parents have the right to be moichel. Often they are moichel. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the actual halachas. But that is the lashon of the Rambam, which is very, very important. Listen to this. I want to tell you a lashon of the Yerushalmi. There's Yerushalmi in Masechtas Peah, Perek Aleph Halacha Zayin. Listen to this, and I quote, Tana, Reb Shimon ben Yochai, Godel Kibbud Av V'em, she'edifu HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yosem Echavoidai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says the Talmud Yerushalmi is more makbid on the Kibbud Av V'em that you do to your parents more than his covered that you should be giving him. And he goes to the rayas, which we're not going to get into at this moment of time. The Yaris Tvash, Reb Yonasan Eibeshitz, in the Heilige Yaris Tvash, Chelik Beis, Drush Beis, brings down, and he brings a Radak in Parshas Shoftim, and he brings a Medrash, that there's a Malach that says that it's Roy to be Goyal Klal Yisrael for the purpose that they did one mitzvah. Which mitzvah is it that Klal Yisrael would have the Geula, would be redeemed? It's the mitzvah of Kibbud Av V'em. As I state, the Yaris Tvash, and he brings a Radak as well. We're dealing with something very, very serious. The Tanit Ve'elio brings, and we know this from the Pasuk, Did you get that? Did you get that? I'll read it again. Unbelievable. Anybody that wants long days, long years, richness, respect, long life in this world and the next world, want chaim she'einem soif, no end. V'keit v'tachas yases rotzen avi v'imoi, should do the rotzen of his parents. We're dealing with a mitzvah that's got incredible ramifications. There is a few other things that I'm going to quote you as well. Unbelievable thing. The Menorah Sama'or Daf Yud Gimel brings down, he brings also to Raif and Gemara and Kedushin Daf Lamed, that it causes the Shechina to come down to Klal Yisrael, that a person mechaber his parents. There's a Medrash Tanchuma in Parshas Kedoshim, where the Medrash Tanchuma brings down, if you want to school it abonim tzadikim, which person doesn't want to have children? Which person doesn't want to have children that are good children? Which person doesn't want to have children that are tzaddikim? People are doing so many things. They go to rebbes, they go to kvarim, they do skulas. Just have a good child. Here it is. Mefurish Medrash Tanchuma, Rabbi Isai, where the Medrash Tanchuma says in Parshas Kedoshim, you'll be zoicha to bonim yisharim v'tzaddikim. Isn't that an unbelievable thing we're dealing over here? Right? We're dealing with an unbelievable mitzvah. The Tana Devei Eliyahu Rabbah brings down, Lo yovoi shum chet al yodoi. You know what that means? No aveira ever comes to you. We're talking about a mitzvah that, unlike any other mitzvah, carries within it the most incredible schar, the most incredible reward. Why? Because it's a basic mitzvah that you machabed your parents, that you realize what your parents did for you, you realize everything they gave you, and you realize how much you have to machabed and respect them. Now there's a lot more to discuss, Rabbi Yisai. There's a tremendous amount of more. Like I told you, we're going to do more the hashkafa than the halacha, because I'm not going to go into all the details of the shayles that are mutter or asa. Maybe a little bit we'll discuss, but I just want to machazik the oilam before they go back to make sure that we are going to try and do the utmost we can to machabed our parents and to become this most incredible mitzvahs and bring together with that into our lives and our future a tremendous amount of schar and reward. Be'ez Hashem, tomorrow we'll continue.